Goody. I was remarking, Jeff, I said, when you used to do these in person, you were always one of the earliest ones there, but on Zoom, not so much.
Not so much. I was getting my paperwork ready. I was here in my office on time, but wait
I'm
a
just
little while.
messing with it. Now, who's Bonnie?
That could be the applicant.
Okay.
In fact, I think it is the
All right.
applicant.
I was just curious, did anybody let Adam know that the barber shop's opened?
It's a dangerous place. Still, let me tell you, I don't trust him.
Yeah, Lee and John still. Nice.
He accidentally deleted some meeting minutes while I was gone on vacation last week, so I told him I was going to strangle him with his mustache and his hair. Weird.
I'll take care of that. 15 bucks.
Excuse my inappropriate cat.
I'm thinking with 94-degree heat, Adam, the beard's got to go.
No, you just roll down the windows,
He's like a dog.
It helps the airflow,
I don't know. It doesn't fly back and block your eyesight while you're trying to drive.
My hat almost flew off today, crossing the bridge.
Oh my God.
All right.
I am going to hop off here if that's okay, Jeff.
Yeah.
And all.
What do we? Yeah, Taylor's going to run the show tonight, or
Dahlia's.
I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Taylor will run the stream, right? Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I got 7:31 Verizon time, so if you guys want to go start recording, feel free. Just let me know.
Okay. I just went live, so we're all set.
Yeah, I'm recording as well.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, Adam. Feel free to peel off whenever you want. All right. Welcome. We'll call the meeting to order, the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting of June 23rd, 2020 via Zoom. I'll start with an introduction of the board members. You could just say present. I'll go around the circle. Scott Stravell.
Present.
Bob Seward.
Like me to change. Here, Ray.
Tom Hickey.
Present.
John Conway.
Present.
Matt Osterguy.
Present.
We also have our zoning board attorney, Bill Hesney.
Evening.
Our zoning board secretary, Allison Lovely. That's a present wave. Our court stenographer tonight is Donna Moran. Thank you. And I am the chairman, Jeff Pengburn. We have a quorum of 6 of 7 members. Our 7th seat remains vacant. So a majority vote is still required. So any vote to carry a motion requires 4 of the 7 votes. And that will hold tonight also. Also helping us tonight, Dahlia Schwarzowitz. If I didn't butcher that. Zarowitz, thank you. Sorry about that, Dahlia. And Taylor Tibbetts helping out with the online broadcast. So to review why we're here tonight, an applicant for a variance is being afforded a public hearing to appeal the decision of the code enforcement officer. The legal criteria used by the board in determining the disposition of the appeal is defined by state law, is documented in the comprehensive zoning law, and was provided to the applicant at the time of their application. Based on this guidance, the applicant is expected to present his or her case to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Then the public will be afforded an opportunity to comment on the application. We request all comments and questions be addressed to the board and not directly to the applicant. The board will then review the materials submitted as well as the testimony presented at this hearing by both the applicant and the public, and will either determine the disposition of the appeal by a majority vote tonight or table the public hearing to a future date. As per town code, any member of the public wishing to speak or comment today shall not be required to disclose his or her name, address, or any other contact related information. We are opening a public hearing, appeal number 2020-03. The appeal of Daniel Gay of 733 Columbia Turnpike, East Greenbush, New York, 12061. The applicant proposes to construct a 24-foot by 22-foot detached garage in the rear yard in the B2 zoning district with a proposed side and rear setback of 4 feet. The review of the proposed work will not comply with the following provisions of the town zoning law. Section 2.7.3 general business district. The required side and rear setbacks in the B2 zoning district are 12 feet. Therefore, the proposed action requires 2 area variances for the property located at 733 Columbia Turnpike, East Greenbush, New York, tax map number 177.8-7-16. Pursuant to Executive Order number 202.1 issued by Governor Cuomo on March 12, 2020, and advisories issued by federal, state, and local officials related to the COVID-19 virus, the zoning board will convene the public hearing remotely as follows. The public hearing has commenced at 7:30 p.m. and shall be conducted through the use of Zoom, a web-based video conference tool with local desktop client and smartphone applications that will allow board members and the public to participate electronically and remotely by audio and with or without a video connection. The meeting is also being live streamed on the town's YouTube channel. Please note that if you wish to comment, you can enter a comment into the chat box at the bottom of the Zoom window, and we will reach out to you when we get to the public comment portion of the public hearing. With that, I'll start with part of the record. We have a memorandum dated June 4th, 2020 from Allison Lovely on behalf of Chairman Maston of the Planning Board regarding the Planning Board recommendation. After some discussion from the board, the following motion was made. The motion was made by Chairman Maston as follows. The Planning Board votes to adopt Mr. Moore's report as its own advisory opinion, recommending approval of the 2 area variances, and shall submit the report to the Zoning Board of Appeals in compliance with Section 4.3 of the town's comprehensive zoning law. See attached report for further details. The motion was seconded and motion was carried by a 7-0 vote. We also have a copy of the detailed report by Mr. Moore dated May 27, 2020, where he met with the property owner, reviewed the appeal at hand, and balancing the benefit to the applicant versus detriment to the community, recommended approval of the requested area variances for the 2 reasons as so stated. The members were provided that report electronically. We also have notification of zoning review action. After having carefully reviewed the information submitted as part of the subject referral, the Rensselaer County Bureau of Economic Development and Planning has determined that the proposal does not have a major impact on county plans and that local consideration shall prevail. We have the signed area variance application by Daniel Gay dated March 10th of 2020. And we also have an authorization form where Daniel Gay gives Nelson Gay permission to represent the application tonight. So with that, I'd like to invite the applicant, either Nelson or Daniel Gay, to review the application at hand and ideally review the 5 area variance criteria and why the board should consider this appeal tonight. Thank you. Dahlia, are you allowing Mr. Gay into the meeting?
We have Bonnie. We don't have anyone on the waiting.
Okay, so I'm using Bonnie's Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, who is that?
I am Daniel Guay.
Okay. All right, Daniel, feel free if you want to start. Actually, Dahlia, do we have video connection on that Bonnie lead?
I don't know if she heard you.
I said yes, yes. I'm sorry. I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Daniel, now we can see you.
How are you?
Good. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Good. All right. Feel free, if you just want to review your proposal, just recap what you're asking for and why you feel the appeal is necessary. And also, if you have the criteria, the 5 criteria, if not, we can try and walk you through it too. So, go ahead.
Okay, the intention is to replace the existing structure with a new one and turn the numbers rectangularly, just a little bit different. I don't believe it's an undesirable change that will affect the neighborhood or detriment to property at all. Whether benefits of the applicant. I don't think there's any other method applicable to me due to the nature of my lot. I'm kind of it kind of is what it is. You know, it's 50 foot across in the back, so having 12 foot and then 12 foot on the other side doesn't leave you any kind of a structure. So that's why the variance. So I don't think there is really any other method than to have the variance to replace the structure. And I don't believe there's any adverse effect to the my adjoining neighbors or to the environment. Because in my conversations with Jim Moore, he did ask how the water was going to be mitigated off of the roof, and we did discuss that. That should be in his report. I'm not sure. The situation was not self-created. So I am in need of a new garage.
Okay.
I don't know if I answered all those correctly or not, or thorough enough.
Okay, thank you. I'll open it up to members of the board. Any questions for the applicant?
A couple of questions on
Jeff,
the,
this, Go,
We'll start
John.
with John and we'll go back to Scott. Thanks.
okay, just a couple of questions on the existing situation.
Yes.
You've got a 2-car garage there right now, and you're proposing to build a 2-car garage. So how is this one different than the one that exists now, other than the fact that it would be new?
So the existing structure is it's pretty rotted due to its positioning against the 2 embankments. So the intention is, so the depth on it is 24. So I was going to make the 24 the width. That frees up 2 feet in the back off of that off the embankment. Now I was going to move it to the north by 2 feet, and that frees up that embankment. And the new structure is going to be a metal building.
Okay, in terms of the dimensions, though, again, I'm not sure I'm understanding that. It's going to be slightly smaller in one dimension and longer in the other. Is that what you said?
So the existing one is 24 deep by 20 wide. And I'm going to go 20 wide by 22 deep because that's the standard size for the metal building.
Okay, great. I'm curious, how did this situation come to be? Was the garage there before Columbia Station, or whatever they're calling it now, was built, or is it?
I'm going to have to say yes to that.
And was that embankment always there, is what I'm asking, I guess.
The embankment was probably done during the excavation of the apartments.
Yeah.
So
And
there's an old stone wall there on the south side of the building. So my understanding going back in time that this used to be a dairy farm. This was actually the farmhouse, and the building next door to me was actually the dairy farm. So, and that's been converted into housing as well.
So, but for as long as the existing garage has been there, it's been that close to the property line, within
Yeah.
4 feet.
I've been here 20 years, and that's where it's always, I bought it in, included with the house.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah. Scott?
Yeah, just further clarification. In my notes preparing, Daniel, I had the proposed structure as 24 by 22. Now I could have misread it. You're saying the proposed structure is 20 foot by 22. Is that correct?
No, the proposed structure is 22 by 25. The existing structure is 24 by 20.
Yeah, Scott, from the application, the existing garage is 24 feet deep by 20 foot wide.
That's correct.
So it's a narrow garage, but deeper.
Right.
The proposal in front of us is 22 feet deep, so 2 foot less depth by 24 foot wide. So an additional 4 foot of width.
All right. I must have read that on something different then. But so we're actually going to get more, I guess it's going to be wider. The new garage is going to have, it's still going to be non-conforming, if you will, but it's going to be farther off the property line than it is today.
Yeah, it's about 80 square feet larger than the existing one.
Yeah, it'll be 2 foot further off the rear setback.
The rear,
But it's
yes.
going to maintain, is it maintaining the same exact side setback, or are you sliding it away from the total slope on the side also?
I'm sliding it north about 2 feet or so.
About 2 feet off the side also? Okay.
Yeah.
Daniel, can you explain, is there any way to bring it even further, either whether it's closer, to increase the setbacks? Can you explain why that's not possible? You had mentioned your backyard isn't conformed that way, but I mean, we're talking 8 feet. Could you move it 8 feet up and back, to kind of create the setbacks, or what would be the challenge of doing that?
Then I wouldn't meet the setback to the structure to the north of me, because I have to maintain 12 feet off of that line.
Okay.
So that's, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Because
I missed that when you first said that. I wasn't quite following you when you said 12 feet off to the side there. Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, I need to maintain the distance away from the next property to the left of me, and then that's how it's going to fall into place where the starting corner is going to be.
So just to verify on that, lot's 50 foot wide, structure is going to be 22 foot wide. That should leave you
24 foot wide.
I thought you were turning it with the narrow part to the width and made it longer.
Yeah.
Okay, so lot's 50 feet wide, structure's 22 foot wide. Even if it's 24 foot wide, it leaves 26 feet for a setback on either side, potentially, if it was centered, of 13 feet on each side. Physically possible. I'm not saying to the drainage, I'm not saying to the swells, but you need 12 feet on each side and 12 feet in the rear.
So it's also getting into it.
Okay.
Because I originally wanted to turn it the other way, and then I would stay all the way to the right as I come in my driveway and turned in. And I don't remember exactly. That's what I first proposed.
It'd be too close to your house, probably.
Yes. And I need to maintain back from the house too, because there's fire codes that are involved as well, as it was explained to me.
So let's say you turned it the opposite way and you set it 12 feet off and it was 22 feet deep. And again, I'm not trying to make this more complicated than it is. It leaves you 28 feet from your property line to the right, to the front of the garage, if you pushed it all the way up to the eastern boundary. So if you pulled up to it and turned left into the garage, it leaves you 28 feet to make that turn and still maintain 12 feet off the back of it. And I'm not considering its proximity to the structure yet, or to the rear property line. But again, it's a 50-foot wide property with
Yeah.
either a 24 or 25 or 22-foot building. It leaves either 26 feet or 28 feet if you push it to the 12-foot line.
Yeah, I follow what you're saying, but for some reason I didn't.
Too close to the house.
Right, you can't swing into it.
It leaves you 28 feet to swing into it.
Leaves 18.
Yep, for
No, it's a 50.
clarification, I think there's a deck and a porch on the back of the house.
So that's front to rear. So you're right. So it leaves 14. So if you put it 12 feet off and you had 22 feet, okay, that's 36 feet. It's going to leave you 14 feet for your turn, right?
Okay.
12 for the setback, 22 for the building, off of 50 feet. That leaves 14 feet.
Right, which I think I agree with them, Tom. It's not enough room to swing into the garage that way, because when you back out of the garage, you got to come straight out, which is the length of a vehicle, which is 16 feet.
And I'm comfortable with that part of the discussion, but with it being a 4-foot setback, I'm just trying to understand if we've taken into consideration all of our orientations that are possible to solve the problem, to remove one of the possibilities or one of the restrictions on it as to whether there's another reasonable way to accomplish this, and whether it's self-created on that other reasonable way to accomplish it. It's basically 2 out of the 5 items that we have to consider. And if none of those are able to be considered, then I'm fine with that. I'm just trying to make sure that we consider that as those 2 options being it. And if it's that it's only a 14-foot setback or a 16-foot setback and the car can't make the turn, that's really the discussion point, is that the car can't make the turn if it's oriented to the side of that way. So now if you didn't do it that way, but you centered it and put the doors to the front, then the restriction becomes the house, right?
Yes.
Okay, so to understand that, so you would have right now on the drawing that you've provided, is that showing the distance, the depth of the garage 24 or 22 feet?
Yes.
Which one is it? You're showing 20 feet from the second floor porch to the front edge of the garage, and you're showing 4 feet. So I'm just trying to figure out the whole distance between the shed or between the second floor porch and the back property line. That's all I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, that total
I
length
think it
there?
says the 24 by 22 is the garage in the drawing you're looking at, right, Tom?
That's what I want to be sure of, whether it's 24 or 22, because I'm completely confused on that.
24 foot
Yeah,
wide, 22
So it's
feet
22
deep.
foot deep in this drawing.
Yes.
Okay, so you've got 46 feet there. From porch
Approximately, yes.
to back.
Yep.
Okay, so
Hey,
that means you would add
Tom.
8 feet. Yep.
Tom, as we pause, can I just have Allison throw up a picture of the proposal and we
Perfect.
can share that screen? Yeah. Thank you, Allison.
It's a
That's
different
the-
picture, I think, Allison.
That's the existing garage. Do we have, Allison, within there, the page before this one, just roll up, has the site plan that Tom's talking about right now.
Yeah, and I apologize.
Yeah,
I've got
that's-
that up on my screen.
Yeah,
So.
there you go.
And it's that site plan where I got 24 by 22 before. So this is why I'm confused too. It's number soup right now.
It's
It's right there, 24 by 22.
correct. The width is 24, the depth is 22. That's consistent.
So
Yes.
we have
Proposed
46.
garage, the new proposal is 24 foot wide by 22 foot deep. So to Tom Hickey's question, 20-foot separation from the second floor deck to the garage, 22 foot deep, 4-foot setback to the property line.
Yep. So you've got 46 feet there. So if you drew it forward, if you pulled it forward 12 feet, okay, and had to do that, now you would have 22. Okay, to the back plus 12, you would have 34 feet. And that again becomes a restriction that you couldn't make the car turn there.
You wouldn't be able to get the second car in there, that's correct.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to walk through is just, I'm trying to really walk through the process of why it can't be turned in either way and still have access to the garage. That's all I'm trying to do.
Mr. Gay, your rear yard neighbor is Greenbush Terrace, correct? And the apartment
Yes.
buildings?
That's correct.
And that's fully wooded behind the garage?
No, it's random trees.
Yeah, random trees, but it's foliage all between the apartment building and your garage.
Yes.
Okay. And to the right, same thing as the apartment complex, just their driveway in with a bunch of
Yes,
extra green space.
Well, plus there is a 39-foot green space. Yep.
Okay. And Allison, if you could just slide down the pages. Yep, thank you. And that's a good view there, showing the way the driveway orients to the garage. And this allows you to access both garage bays, correct?
Yeah, the larger vehicle go on the right and the smaller vehicle go on the left due to maneuverability.
Okay, thank you.
So to both of those, to go back to my question, if you moved it all the way forward, it would only leave 12 feet at best between the building and the second floor porch, which makes it not able to be maneuvered in and out of. Okay, and you moved it all the way to the 12-foot mark from the right, it makes it, if you reoriented it, you can't make the turn that way.
That's correct.
So that's what I wanted to make sure that we got to, that under each one of those orientations, that it's either a 14-foot turning radius or a 12-foot turning radius that prevents you access into both garage doors, regardless of how you oriented it, and obeyed the 12-foot setback.
Yes.
All right, I just wanted to talk through it, understand it all, so I don't think I have anything else.
And I think the height, well, all right. So there was a fire code that was mentioned to me that I had to maintain as well. And I think I'm within that. By just moving it off the two embankments allows me to maintain the fire code from the back of my property and also from the neighboring property.
The neighboring property is a bit closer to yours than perhaps it should be too. Is that right? Have you ever?
If you look at the photograph of the map, they show, yeah, it is closer to my line. That's correct.
Yeah.
Actually, the electronic one shows it over the line, but then, you know, it's probably pretty darn close to being on it. The two properties used to be, well, I don't know how and when it was ever divided up into the section of lots. I didn't get a year on that one.
Yeah. All right, any other questions from members of the board?
Do I? No. Oh.
Nope, you're all set. All right, Dahlia, do we have any members of the public present tonight?
Not to my knowledge. I think everyone's here. 4 members, Donna and Mr. Goy.
Okay. With no members of the public present to comment for or against this appeal, I'll open it up for a final call for any questions from members of the board. All right, hearing none. Mr. Guay, anything else you want to add?
I don't believe so, unless someone else has another question.
Nope, looks like we're set. So thank you very much. With that, I will entertain a motion from a member of the board to close the public hearing.
I'll make it, Jeff.
Motion by Scott Stravell. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bob
I'll
Sewell.
second.
Okay, all those in favor, you can just show your hand.
Aye.
That works better. Thank you. Motion carries 6-0. And that therefore closes the public hearing tonight. So, Mr. Guay, you're welcome to listen in the remainder of the meeting. There'll be no more public comment or comment from you or dialogue back and forth. It's a closed meeting from this point. You're welcome, like I said, to listen in. It'll be broadcast online anyway. With that, you're also welcome to leave and call Allison to see what happens on the appeal. I would imagine we will enter workshop shortly and have a vote shortly thereafter. So either way, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, with that, you have a memo in regards to Appeal 2020-03, Daniel Guay of 733 Columbia Turnpike, application for 2 area variances. The Zoning Board of Appeals has considered this project under seeker and determines that this project meets the requirements for a type 2 action and no further seeker review is required. With that, I will recommend we enter into workshop, and any members of the board wish to begin a discussion.
Yeah, I'll just go back to what I tried to figure out there. I think with the size of the garage, and I think those being very normal dimensions of a garage in today's world, that I don't think you could really accomplish the access into it for a 2-bay garage with anything, less than the 12 feet or nothing materially less than the 12 feet from the layout of it. And then additionally with its proximity to the house. So I'm not sure there's any other way to accomplish a 2-car garage there without having it impede on the setbacks.
Great, thank you, Tom.
Yeah, and
I think we read too, right? Go ahead, Bob.
Tom, I appreciate you kind of routing that out during the meeting or during the presentation. A couple things I look at. First, it's really replacing an existing condition that he inherited. He's making an improvement. He's not infringing on those setbacks that are currently there any more than they already are. And I also think since this property is on 9 and 20, it certainly doesn't affect the character of the neighborhood. There's a lot of industrial or business-like lots either across the street or within 100 yards of this property. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Thank you, Bob. Scott, you want to add in?
No, I basically said what I was going to say, right? This is replacing a dilapidated structure. It's further off the property line than the existing structure, right? So it's going in the right direction. It's going to be metal. Seems like they've taken drainage into account. I read they were going to put gutters on there and try to push water towards a swale. They're not doing anything than pruning the existing vegetation. I think this one makes a lot of sense, given where it is, from my own opinion.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, Jeff.
I would just
go ahead, John.
Thanks. I'm just going to add that I don't know how much we should consider this on the zoning review, but I think there is a fire consideration to think about here, because anything you do to move the garage would, I think, move it either closer to Mr. Guay's property or the neighboring property, which I don't think would be an improvement at all. And secondly, these embankments. I think we can allow a little bit of leeway here in terms of the property line, insofar as the next door neighbor on that one side and behind him is actually quite a steep embankment. The garage is practically buried there. So I think this is probably a pretty good solution for this property.
Great, thank you. Matt?
Yeah, Jeff, just no concerns. I think everyone's covered it. It's interesting when you see the picture, you realize how tight that yard really does look. When you see the diagram with the 20-foot, and it doesn't do it justice, you see that house next to it really is quite tight to his property line. So I think this seems to be the best spot, and he's doing the best he can to mitigate everything he can for this opportunity. So I'm good with everything shared so far as well.
Great, thank you.
I think the only other point I would make, and again, it's in support of it, is the property next door that's reserved, that's been divided, is only 39 feet wide for that reserved area parcel. So there couldn't be a structure put on that parcel anyways without any further variances allowed. So it's not like somebody can move in next door and have a piece of a building structure too close to them that we've given a variance to. There can't be development on that little 39-foot parcel.
Right, good point. And I think the parcel to the west also is very close to the property line and causes more of a character issue than this property does. I think this property actually fits in fairly well due to the green space of that 39-foot right away, as you just mentioned, Tom. I think they work well hand in hand there. So no immediate neighbor on the east side of this parcel lends credence, as well as the existing driveway running up that right property line kind of hems us into leaving this garage kind of where it was, and will be an improvement to the property, both from a aesthetic standpoint as well as by increasing the setbacks that are already there, as others have mentioned already. So thank you. With that, any other comments for workshop, or does somebody wish to make a motion tonight? All right.
I can if you want, Jeff. It's up. That's fine.
Yeah. All right. Fire away, Matt.
And Jeff, just to clarify, we've got two resolutions, one for the side, one for the rear. Okay to combine those when I do the resolution?
Yeah, we broke it up anticipating voting on each variant separately as part of basically one large motion, though. But we'll vote on them separately, the first being the side setback, the second being the rear setback.
Okay, and so do you want me to provide the same, same criteria and same response to the 5 criteria for each one of them then?
Whatever you feel is applicable for each. If they're the same, you could feel free on the second one to note that it's the same as the first one. We left it open in case they were different.
Okay, all right, no, I appreciate that. That's simpler. Okay, thank you. Okay, so in the matter by Daniel Guay for 2 area variances, resolution and final decision of Board of Appeals, appeal number 2020-03, whereas an application has been filed by Daniel Guay of 733 Columbia Turnpike, East Greenbush, New York, 12061. The applicant proposes to construct a 24 by 22 detached garage in the rear yard with the side and rear setback of 4 feet in the B2 zoning district. The review of the proposed work will not comply with the following provisions of the town zoning law, section 2.7.3, general business district B-2. The required side and rear setbacks in the B2 zoning district are 12 feet. And whereas the applicant has filed an application requesting 2 area variances at the property located at 733 Columbia Turnpike, East Greenbush, New York, tax map number 177.8-7-16. And whereas the Board of Appeals has duly published a notice of public hearing regarding this appeal in the record on June 12th, 2020. And whereas notice of the public hearing was provided by certified mail to the owners of all property within 200 feet of the land involved in the application, to the Town Planning Board and to the Rensselaer County Bureau of Economic Development and Planning. And whereas a public hearing was held by the Board of Appeals on Tuesday, June 23rd, 2020, to consider this appeal, and whereas is as follows. Is that okay?
Remaining whereas is by, yes. Donna, you have a copy of the resolution, correct?
I don't, but I can get one.
Okay, thank you. You can jump to resolve then, Matt.
Okay, thank you. So resolved that the Board of Appeals makes the following findings of fact in regards to the proposed side setback of 4 feet. There will not be an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood, as the new garage will be a replacement of the existing garage. The setbacks will actually improve, and the newer building will replace an older building beginning to deteriorate. There is no other method available to the applicant, as given the size of the backyard, the proximity of the home, the proximity of the neighbor, and the need to be able to have enough room to pull vehicles into the garage. The requested variance is not substantial, given that it's consistent with how the garage was currently located on the property. The proposed variance will not have an adverse effect on the neighborhood. Given the location on the Columbia Turnpike, it is very similar and is a replacement of an existing garage. The alleged difficulty is self-created. However, that shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variance. Resolved that the application for an area variance for a proposed side setback of 4 feet be granted with no conditions. This resolution was moved by Matt Ostagai and seconded by
I'll second.
Scott Stravell at a meeting duly held on June 23rd, 2020.
Excellent. Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, a vote was taken as follows. John Conway.
Yes.
Matt Ostagai.
Yes.
Tom Hickey.
Yes.
Jeff Pangburn, yes. Bob Seward III.
Yes.
Scott Stravell.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Thank you.
Okay. In regards to the second aspect, resolved that the Board of Appeals makes the following findings of fact in regards to the proposed rear setback of 4 feet. There will not be an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood given the support as listed for the side setback. The additional comment here is there is trees and plenty of foliage that will protect the sites from the back. I think there's an apartment complex in the back. Similar to there is no other method available to the applicant as listed in the first support for the first resolution. The requested variance similarly is not substantial. The proposed variance will not have an adverse effect on the neighborhood as listed in the first resolution, and the alleged difficulty is self-created. However, that should not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variance. Resolved that the application for an area variance for a proposed rear setback of 4 feet be granted with no conditions. This resolution was moved by Matt Ostagai and seconded by
I'll second it.
John Conway at a meeting duly held on June 23rd, 2020.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, a vote was taken as follows. John Conway.
Yes.
Matt Ostagai.
Yes.
Tom Hickey.
Yes.
Jeff Pangburn, yes. Bob Seward III.
Yes.
Scott Stravell.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. All right. With that, review our agenda. Our next meeting is July 14th, 2020. Any topics on that agenda, Allison?
Yes, there's one appeal for an area variance for 44 Troy Road, and I'll send everybody the information tomorrow.
Excellent. Thank you. For everybody's knowledge, that application is a property that we should all be familiar with on Route 4, kind of between the Greenbush Inn and Cow's Corners. It's along that stretch of, looks like residential homes that are slowly turning over to professional businesses, but encourage everybody to take a look at that property as well as the neighboring properties, because the proposal does appear to be a change in that approach along that stretch, so we should be aware of it. Although there is some front yard parking going on along that stretch of Route 4. So take a look, make sure you're familiar with that area before July 14th. With that, approval of minutes, June 9th.
I went on vacation, so I didn't get them done.
All right.
I'm gonna postpone them.
Hey, Jeff, for that 14th meeting, do you think we'll be in town hall, or do you think we'll be doing it via Zoom?
I believe we will still be doing it via Zoom.
Okay.
The governor is not allowed in-person public hearings yet because he's trying to avoid the crowds, clustering of people. So for right now, we're tentatively I'm leaning towards it staying on Zoom.
I'm on vacation, so if it's Zoom, I could actually attend. If it's
Oh,
in
there you
town
go.
hall, it might be harder. So I'm voting Zoom is fine. So
All right. Sounds good. That'd be fine. All right. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn tonight. Motion by Scott Stravell. I see an arm up. Second.
Yes, sir.
Who's that? Tom Hickey?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I'll give it a second to Tom Hickey. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstain. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, guys. Appreciate working through this again. I think the logistics actually work out okay. Do look forward to getting back together in town hall, hopefully in the near future, but we'll see. We'll keep it working. Mr. Guay, congratulations. Good luck with that garage, and appreciate investing in the town of East Greenbush still. Thank you. All right, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you,
That's all.
Good
Take
night.
care, Jeff.